All right, man, peace. You know, brothers, we better pay very close attention to a lot of the goings-on of the Black Lesbians Matter NBA playoff bubble, because I think that a lot of the performances are going to carry over into next season in the same way that many times you'll see players participate in the Olympics or, you know, some of the international tournaments that the NBA works with, some of the global leagues on when it comes to basketball. They'll play in these tournaments in the summertime, and then they'll come back the next season more self-assured, more confident, and more dominant. And some of the things that we're seeing, first from Devin Booker, but now from Jamal Murray and especially Donovan Mitchell, I think are going to signal a change and an overall shift in power next season. We're not really going to see it this season. It's more going to be next season. And I also think that we should be paying very close attention to the decline of LeBron James, because he has shown some decline in this playoff bubble that I'm not quite sure he's going to get back. We'll see. But Donovan Mitchell had a dominating performance, albeit in a loss, against the Denver Nuggets, who, in my view, are the up-and-coming team of the NBA. Their overall talent level is amazing. It's astonishing how much talent they have on that team that they're cultivating right now. But on the Utah Jazz side, Mr. Donovan Mitchell, he just exploded like no player that I've seen in the playoffs probably since Allen Iverson had about, a 55 or 56 point game against Charlotte back in, I think, 03 or 04. He was dominant. So, of course, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
Donovan Mitchell did everything he could last night in Utah's overtime loss to the Denver Nuggets. His 57-point game ranks as the third most all-time in NBA.
You know, brothers, I watch these games, and I don't want to come off like I'm hating or anything like that, or like I'm trying to marginalize some of the things these cats are doing. But the defense is just... the defense is so minimal now compared to back in the day that just in evaluating some of these outstanding performances, they're great for today. But I wouldn't compare it to what guys like Jordan was doing back in the 90s or the 80s in the playoffs, where he was getting double teamed and then had to meet a 4 and a 5 man at the rim. Donovan, as I've stated in previous videos, in this current NBA, basically they're running a cone drill where the basketball player just has to dribble around the defenders, because most of these guys don't move their feet and they can't put their hands on the offensive player anymore to impede his progress. So once you're able to get around one guy and then the floor is so spread out with shooters, you basically have the rim all to yourself. If a guy like Jordan or Kobe Bryant played today, I could easily see them scoring 70, 75 points in a playoff game.
History behind only Elgin Baylor and Michael Jordan. Mitchell did make a costly mistake when he was called for an 8-second violation of 4 with under 2 minutes left that allowed Denver back in the game. So, Shannon, what was your biggest takeaway from this one?
He's like a better shooting Dwayne Wade, except he's not as big as Dwayne was.
It was a historic performance, Skip. I did not see this coming, and I saw him.
Neither did I. I wasn't even watching the game. I happened to turn to it at the very end, and I heard that he had 57 points. I was like, what?
Get it going early, but I didn't think. I said, okay, he get high 30s, maybe 40. Skip, I didn't see 57. And I've seen a lot of great playoff performances.
Let me also say this. Just from a three-dimensional perspective, Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray are both players to watch and to scrutinize in the coming years, assuming that this society lasts into the coming years, because as we already know, Jamal Murray was involved in the ritual, the quote-unquote maypole ritual, which included his quote-unquote girlfriend, where she was giving him fellatio on camera on Instagram. Of course, it was ritualistic in nature, and it was in adherence to the concept of the divine aspect of the number 27, which he sports. Donovan Mitchell wearing the number 45. We all know that Michael Jordan wore the number 45 in his return to the NBA. So it's just something to watch. I'm not going to call Donovan Mitchell a monarch athlete as of yet, but it's going to take some scrutinizing. Jamal Murray, I have very little doubt, was raised up in the sports aspect of the Monarch program. No doubt about it, especially when understanding how his father raised him. It's very low doubt. Now, brother brought up how the Denver Nuggets have incorporated the rainbow into their jerseys, and he was trying to align it to some Luciferianism. The Nuggets have always had the rainbow in their jerseys.
Yeah, this is unbelievable what this kid was doing. I mean, he was attacking the rim, the mid-range game, he was shooting the 3.
And just to explain it, the reason why the Denver Nuggets wear the rainbow on their jersey is because of the mythological telling of the pot of gold being at the end of the rainbow. That's why their team name is the Denver Nuggets, for nuggets of gold.
Perfect from the free throw line, but it was his costly mistake. Skip, they're up 4 points. They're up 4 with a chance to go up 6.
Yeah.
He gets that violation, and the Nuggets come right back and drill a 3, and now what could have been a 6-point lead is all of a sudden a 1-point lead. And they really never got momentum back into the ball game. And the only thing that, and Jamal Murray was equally as hot as Donovan Mitchell, but the difference was Jamal Murray had his guys to come along with him. In the fourth quarter, Donovan had 22. He had another 6 in overtime, so that's 28 points.
Jamal Murray was also an apprentice of one Mr. Kobe Bean Bryant.
In overtime, none of his other teammates had more than 4 points. Where you had Murray go hot, and then you get Jokic doing what he does. Jeremy Grant was unbelievable down the stretch. But Skip, Donovan Mitchell performance, Skip, that's one for the ages. That's the most points ever in a playoff loss.
Lies. The most points ever in a playoff loss is Michael Jordan with 63 points. Shannon Sharp, you know that shit already. Stop trying to act dumb.
They topped LeBron's. Remember, LeBron had 51 in the playoff loss.
Ain't nobody thinking about no damn LeBron James. LeBron and his 51 points in the playoff loss in Golden State that he could have made a win had he not given up in overtime.
I don't even know what to say. You know, when LeBron said that, the NBA is in great hand with these young guys, Skip, these guys doing it. I mean,
I agree. The only problem that the NBA has right now, and I think that they know this as well, they need more quote-unquote black American high-level talent because the league is almost becoming too international. And you don't want to stray away from your home base talent too much.
57 from this guy. And then you get Doncic go for 42. And you get Tatum, the youngest Celtic ever with a 30 and 10 game. Yep. And when you talk about the youngest Celtics, think about the Celtics. You go, all those legends that they got. And this kid. So this was a great performance. And I was like, Utah, you're like, man, they boring. But you couldn't move, Skip.
Had that game went into another overtime, he would have broke Michael Jordan's record.
Captivated.
Yep. Which brings me to my bottom line. I would like to thank both of these young men for putting on one of the greatest shows of clutch shooting down the stretch for the last 6.5 minutes of that game as I have ever witnessed mano a mano.
Yep.
Back and forth. Can you top this? Yes, I can. Can you top that? Yes, I will. And it was a privilege. It was an honor to watch it, and it was the most fun I've had watching sports in about 6 months. It might qualify as some of the most fun I've had watching NBA basketball in my life. And
Skip Bayless, let's keep it funky. You're just happy to have basketball to watch. Because if you let Dame Lillard tell it, you was about to climb up to the top of the Empire State Building and jump off head first had the NBA stopped their bubble tournament from happening. You were that downtrodden and downcast.
A whole lot of NBA basketball because these two young men said, no, 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 no. And if we could see the tape, I just had them pull the tape of the last 9 shots made, the first couple, or maybe a couple from Donovan, but you can just see what starts happening here. It's Donovan, he attacks the rim. Okay, he scores the first. That
terrible rim defense from Jokic.
6:29 left, and here comes Donovan again, and he just pulls up right in the face of the defender, and kaboom.
He's feeling it.
Yep, he is feeling it. Now it's Jamal Murray's turn, and he pulls up and goes up and under 18 feet, and he makes...
Yeah, Murray can go out and get it. He has to take another jump upward, though. To me, this season has been a disappointment for him. Like, he has to get up around that 23, 24 point per game area for that team to be a contender. And Porter Jr. has to step up also and be around that 20, 21 point per game area. Jokic, you don't really worry about his points because he does so much all around.
Now we go back to Donovan Mitchell from 3. That's getting crazy right there. Yep, and here we go with another attack the rim from Donovan Mitchell. Ooh.
Yeah, he was out there getting it.
He's got lots of games.
I did not see this in Louisville.
Yeah, and here we go. Jamal Murray says, no, it's my turn. That's 1:39 left to cut it to 1. and now he's going to tie the
But this
game
is
with
just
a
ridiculous.
step back. That tied it at 125. And here he goes with another step back. Look at this. Woo, on a string. And
I have no idea why Quinn Snyder put Joe Ingles on Jamal Murray.
that put them up 2, and then Donovan Mitchell tied.
That's a beautiful move. That's the move that Dwayne Wade made famous. That reverse between the legs dribble move and pulling up. Beautiful move by Donovan Mitchell. He's mastered that move.
And with that,
With his step back.
Oh, God. That was...
And that's a real step back. That's not the James Harden merengue back where he does 8 steps and dances the bachata before he shoots the damn basketball.
a showcase of shootout. And here's what I was left with. Remember, Donovan Mitchell is 6 feet 1 inches tall, so he's not a giant.
Right.
Jamal is
He's probably a little bit taller than that. I would give Donovan probably about 6'2.5".
blur. He's listed at 6'4". He doesn't play that tall. He looks like he's more 6'2"-ish, but
Right.
he is 6'4". Okay, so that brings us back to tonight's game. And you know my issues with Damian Lillard. So I'm going to go back into this one last time ahead of tonight because we've seen Dame just go crazy hot
Crazy.
for long stretches. And you say he has completely convinced you. We've seen 61 and 51 and we're out 42.
42-12.
Whew. We've seen that, but we haven't seen what I just showed you. We haven't seen him close a deal the way Jamal did. Remember, that game went to overtime.
Right.
And remember, Jamal scored 18 of his 36 points in the last 139 of regulation and in overtime.
Right.
That's 18 points and 139 plus 5 more minutes.
Right, well, Isaiah Thomas once scored 16 points in a minute and a half.
It was 8 points in the last 139 and then 10.
And shit, Reggie Miller scored 8 points in 0.1 seconds damn near.
In overtime. That's half of his 36 came late. Well, he just closed the deal. And again, you mentioned he gets some help from teammates, but mostly he was just saying,
Right.
no, I got this.
Yeah, but Utah couldn't get any stops, Skip. They allowed him to shoot 67% from the 3 in the
Okay.
fourth quarter,
All right.
60% from the field. You got to get some stops.
Okay? So here's my issue to sum it up one last time ahead of tonight's game with Dame. This is his greatest opportunity to show he can close deals because remember, he's gotten swept out of the last 2 playoffs. 2018 against New Orleans, he got swept and he was not good in 4 straight fourth quarters of those games. Then last year we talked. I've talked it to death. I'm beating the dead horse, but against Golden State without Kevin Durant, 4 straight close games going to the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Dame was not good. And Shannon can use all the bullshit excuses about how Dame and CJ were going up against a team that had won 73 games. All that's bullshit. You don't carry those wins into a season 3 years later. It doesn't work like that. They won 67 games in the 2014-15 season. They won 73 games in the 2015-2016 season. Last year was the 2018-2019 season. You don't carry those wins all the way over. It's like the Bulls won 72 games in 95-96, but by 97-98, they won 62 games. So they were not the same team. Same thing with Golden State. Golden State was not the same team in 2019 that they were in 2015 or 2016. And they didn't even have Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes was on that team that won 67 games and 73 games.
He didn't do Dame stuff. He didn't do what you say he didn't do superstar. He didn't do life changer.
Dame is not a superstar, so he can't do superstar stuff. He can do phenomenal things, but superstars carry their teams against other championship level teams in the most important and dire moments in the playoffs. Dame can't do that. He's not on that level. There's only 4 guys on that level in the NBA.
He just says, I'm that guy now. I have arrived, and I got you, Steph, and I got you, Clay. Watch this. CJ was equally bad. Maybe you could argue CJ was even worse in those 4 fourth quarters and 1 overtime. Which brings me to the bubble. As many points as he scored in stretches, against Boston down the stretch, he disappeared. Against the Clippers down the stretch, we know what happened. He had the 2 free throws he missed, and that was against Clippers backups, and he missed the 3 to tie the game, and they lost to a ragamuffin Clipper team at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. And then we saw in the last 2 games that we saw him play against Brooklyn and then Memphis, over the, what was it, 19 minutes and 12 seconds that he's played in the 2 fourth quarters, he hasn't scored a basket. Well, I just showed you Jamal and Donovan and Jamal. Well, the guy that was proclaimed the MVP of the bubble, he's gone 19 minutes and 12 seconds of fourth quarters without score. He scored points from the free throw line,
right,
but not field goals. He's made no shots like any of those ones you just saw. So I sat back at the end of that game yesterday and I thought, I just want to see that one time from Damian where he does that to somebody.
Well, to be fair, Skip, Dame did do that to the OKC Thunder last year, especially in the deciding game. So you have to give him that much credit.
Says what Donovan was saying.
But to Skip's point, Dame is not this incredible closer that Shannon and others who are jumping on his bandwagon are trying to make him out to be, and how he's trying to make himself out to be. He's a great closer in the regular season, but as you get deeper into the playoffs, you start to see the difference between people like him and people like Steph, or even people like Dame and people like James Harden.
Well, you see what happens, though, Skip. At some point in time, if you cool off, and Donovan cooled off in overtime, he didn't have anybody to bring him along. Well, if Donovan doesn't do that, they're not even doesn't get to overtime.
I got it.
But Dame, Skip, he got 61. He had a 51. He had a 42-12.
All right, but I have.
Right, but against the Clippers, he had a 22. And that was against a Clipper team that was sitting Kawhi Leonard.
I mean, one time close the game the way those two young men were closing.
Oh, you saw that against the Lakers when he dropped that 48 on them. Yeah, he closed it.
Well, that was Kobe's eulogy night from LeBron.
Yes, he closed that. He hit those bomb threes.
Okay, I think they won pretty handily that night.
Yeah, I don't think that was a close game down the stretch, but Shannon's trying to stress the truth as usual.
Call?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it was close, and then he hit a three. I think they were up three, and then they hit a three.
Okay, well, you can argue the Lakers' minds were elsewhere, right?
Well, they didn't even put it elsewhere.
Okay.
Well, Dame put it elsewhere, Skip Bayless. Put some respect on his name, like he said in the bubble.
All right. Well, I'm just saying.
Well, I hope he doesn't close. Tonight.
Well, I know you have mixed emotions, but this, to me, I don't have your mixed emotions. I just want to see Damian Lillard rise up at the end of a close game.
Why do you want to see that now?
Well,
because he wants to see LeBron and Damian go at it because he knows he can't lose. Skip knows no matter who wins this series, he can't lose because he's trolling the both of these dudes.
Because I haven't seen it before in a playoff game.
No,
I haven't seen it.
You want him to rise up and knock the Lakers out.
No, I don't. I really don't want to see the Lakers knocked out for our sake, our show's sake. I want to see the Lakers and the Clippers.
Skip wants the series to go 7 and for LeBron and Damian to average 15 points a game on 25% from the field.
I would love to see Damian Lillard just say, watch this. It would be great because I haven't seen it before.
I've seen him. Ask Paul George. He said, Paul George, watch this from 37 feet away.
Okay.
Boom. He said...
Hey, yo, Paul George was so desperate trying to block that shot, too.
James Harden, watch this from 32 feet away. Boom.
Well, that was about, what, 6-7 years ago Dame hit that shot? I'm not even quite sure I count that shot anymore.
Game-ending, series-clinching threes. Is that not closing?
Okay. That was in a first-round playoff matchup, right?
Yeah, what the hell is this?
Okay. All right. Well, this is 1 versus 8. He gets to play 1. And nobody saw this coming, and now everybody sees it coming because Charles Barkley, we used a clip from him early in the show, right. He is predicting Portland. Greg Anthony is predicting Portland. The odds makers are...
Portland has very good matchups on the basketball floor that they must exploit. They must exploit, especially in light of the fact that they don't play very good defense. They have to exploit their advantages at the guard position.
That it's a runaway train that people are enthralled is the word. They are enthralled betting on Portland.
If you pick Portland and they win, you see, I told you they was going to beat the Lakers. You pick Portland, they lose. They were supposed to lose. They were the 8th seed. The Lakers were the 1 seed.
That's the point. Skip Bayless is a master troll once again. He knows that no matter who wins this series, he can't lose. He can't lose. If Portland wins, he gets to come on TV and say, What happened, King? Okay, this ends the GOAT debate, Shannon. And if the Lakers win in dominating fashion, and say the closeout game is Game 5, and Dame doesn't show up in the fourth quarter, now he controlled Dame.
I'm telling you, it's like the lottery. I play the lottery. I just have to be right once.
Okay.
And then everything else is all forgotten.
Okay, but the point is, I think people truly believe that Portland has a real shot of winning this series.
Of course they do. I do.
We had Chris Haynes on. He knows Portland inside and out. He's close with Dame. He knows that they believe they can beat the Lakers right here, right now.
I believe they're a better team, and I believe the better team, barring injury, the better team will always win a series. Barring injury, the better team will win the series because you can get lucky and win one game. It's hard to get lucky and win 4 games. So,
I believe Dame.
I agree with that. That's what makes the NBA playoffs so compelling, is to see 2 teams battle it out, even going to a 7th game, knowing that 999 times out of 1,000, the better team is going to win the series.
And CJ. I'm not going to leave him out. I call him CJ as in clutch jumper. I think they're going to have...
And CJ is their closer. Skip is correct with that as well. People forget this. CJ is the person who came up big in Game 7 against the Nuggets last season, not Dame. Dame did not play well in that Game 7.
Opportunities to come up big and win games. Would you want to be tapping your watch when you're down 0-2 to Dame and CJ? Do you want to be doing it? Dame time? Is that what you want?
You remember my guy was
let's see.
Hold on.
I want to see.
Do you remember my guy was down 3-1 to a unanimous MVP?
Give me a break already. You know, Dame is like that average-looking chick with big titties who the high school makes a homecoming queen because her house burned down and they feel sorry for her. Like that's who Dame is. Like, it's almost too much now. Everybody's talking about Dame Lillard being a superstar and being underrated. No, he's not. He's properly rated. In my view, he's probably just outside of the top 10. He's floating around that 10 area. But he's not a superstar.
With them 73 and 9 that averaged 35 and 6?
Yep.
Then what did he do? What did he do?
You're talking about Steph?
I'm just talking about, I'm saying, my guy being down, I won't count my guy out. Until you win 4.
Yes, many teams have won 4 against your boy while he won none.
Horn goes off of that last game.
Yep. Your guy is 3-6 in the NBA.
Thank you, sir. These LeBron James fans, they're ridiculous to me. The way they talk, you think that he was 6-3 like Tom Brady.
I mean, 6 times he's lost.
About to be 4-6.
Really? About to be not 4-6 because you're not going to get out of the Western Conference.
Okay.
Speaking.
But anyway, that's basically it on that, brothers. We'll see how things go over the course of these playoffs. Donovan Mitchell, I think that he has a few more dynamic performances ahead of him. And probably Jamal Murray as well. So peace.